Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV and online content and help you answer the question, is the podcast coming from inside the house? I'm your host, Ashley Hobley, and joining me to talk about all this stuff is Dylan Blight.
Hello.
And also Nicholas Pryor.
Hi.
I don't know what that's a reference to, but I thought it was amusing. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's jump right into it. Nick, you've watched Bad Times at the El Royale.
I have.
What did you think?
Mediocre.
Do you want to elaborate on it any more than that?
It was very mediocre. Yeah, it was a very... It's a... I don't know how to describe it, like a closed set kind of film. It reminded me very much of The Hateful Eight, but just done not very well at all. Like, I couldn't care for any of the characters. None of it felt earned. It was just bad stuff happening to bad characters. It was okay. Like, the atmosphere was good, the music was good, but yeah, I just could not care about any of the characters. And it was it was also told in a way, it was like split up into sections. It was like, because it's at a hotel and like it'll have room, whatever that character's staying in, it'll play out a part of that, then it'll cut to another character's room in that part of storyline, and they'll cross over, and then it'll cut back to another one, and then go forward, and then cut back, and it was just very jarring the way it was told as well.
Okay. Was at least the acting good, or because that's a pretty good cast?
Yeah, it was fine, but like I said, the acting was good, but I just couldn't care about the characters.
Okay.
I would personally recommend waiting till it comes out on Netflix or something, as opposed to seeing it at the cinema.
Okay.
The El Royale.
El Royale.
That's all I know from the trailer.
So the US TV season's come back up, so there's a couple of shows that I've popped up that I want to quickly just cover. So I watched...
Arrow, Flash, Supergirl.
Sure, let's go. I watched the first episode of Arrow. It's pretty good, I guess. Slight spoilers. It begins with Oliver in prison after revealing the Green Arrow was part of an FBI deal. So the whole first episode is stuck in prison. It's pretty much all set up, the first episode, like setting up where everybody is, seeing in that. There is a fight scene in which he's naked in a bathroom, so if you're into that, that's there.
No doodle though, right?
No, yeah, there's good placement of different walls and stuff. But the most interesting thing is, and I guess this is a real spoiler, so like if you want to jump ahead like 30 seconds, this season they're adding what I thought was flashbacks again.
I read about this,
but instead it's flash forwards. So they've got like his son in like, I don't know, 20 years in the future, going to the islands and meeting an older Roy Harper. So that's very intriguing.
Still going to the fucking island.
Of course, it's very important. All right, and then I've watched the first 2 episodes of The Flash for this season. And the big thing for this season is that Barry and Iris's daughter from the future has come from the future into the past. And is working with them, yeah.
Trunks.
Yeah. But yeah, Nora's an interesting character, and the reasons that she's like, you can see the dynamics are interesting, I guess, because she's like a daddy's daughter, and then it explains why she's a daddy's daughter, which is interesting that it plays out. We also got our first glimpse of the main villain for this season, Cicada, played by Chris Klein, and it's fine. It is a guy with a arrow, no, like a lightning bolt rock.
Got him.
Yeah.
You're not selling.
No, I'm probably not.
Shows
but
whatsoever.
Yeah. If you love these, if you're into season 6 and 4 of these, you're probably going to keep watching. So
I don't think it's good after 4 or 5 years of the show.
I will also chuck in that they showed some of the first pictures from Elseworlds, the big crossover from this year, and they got Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell switching roles. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. So the Arrow is going to be the Flash, and the Flash is going to be the Arrow.
I'm probably going to watch that.
Yeah.
I need to see.
I'm sure you won't need any continuity. It'll be fine.
If I need to know anything, you can fill me in.
Yeah, that's true. I also watched the first 2 episodes of Manifest.
What the fuck is that?
So it's a TV show. I can't remember. Airing on NBC. Currently airing on Channel 9. I saw they did a 10-minute preview ages ago on YouTube, and I watched it. So the basic premise is after a turbulent but routine flight, the passengers and crew discover the world has aged 5 years, yet no time has passed for them, and soon a deeper mystery unfolds. So yeah, it's interesting.
I've seen a lot of these shows recently, like the 100 and all that, where they go away for a little while and they come back and everything's changed.
Yeah, it kind of, yeah, it's interesting that the first 10 minutes, it just goes straight into that, and you see them reacting to them getting back after 5 years and everything sort of changed. But yeah, it's not great, but it's like a serial procedural, because each episode, it seems like they're going to be solving some sort of mysterious problem that's related to the people who are on the plane. So, but then there's some sort of overarching plot story that's going to be going through the whole season, maybe into several seasons. But yeah, I know it's a good thing to watch while you're having something to eat or doing something else. Yeah,
while you're having someone to eat. And
I'm pretty sure it's got one of the biggest ratings of the year so far. So I suspect, at least here in Australia. So expect to see more Manifest here in Australia on Channel 9. Now we move into the very big mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And Dylan, there's 2 things I assume you're dying to talk about. 1.
Dying.
Apostle.
Apostle was very good, I thought. I think it might be a bit of a acquired taste in some regards, but I very much enjoyed it. It's pretty much The Wicker Man, but on acid, and a lot more violent.
And less Nick Cage.
And less Nick Cage going, the beast! It wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be from the trailer. I would say that or maybe I was just being really naive about what I was hinting at in the trailer, but I thought it was going to be a pretty cut, run and dry, just whatever, a bit of a crazy cult out there, going a bit weird, kidnapping people, whatever, and violence happens and ensues. But it went a lot weirder than that, I guess is one way to put it without spoilers, and I enjoyed the direction it took. And I'd say Dan Stevens also basically brings the whole piece together, because he is really good on it. He is riding the line of going into Nick Cage crazy constantly, but because he's sitting right on that line, he really makes the movie work, I feel. And then also Michael, what's his last name? What is his name?
Is it Michael Shannon or Michael Sheen?
Sheen, thank you. Michael Sheen is also quite good in it.
Martin's
but the other bad guy is a lot better than him, and I was going to find his name now because I don't actually know his name off the top of my head. This guy, Richard Flynn, which is one of the other. Well, was it this guy? Oh, no, it might be. But anyway, one of the other guys is really quite good. But overall, I'd say the acting's very good for a genre piece like this. And it's good to see Gareth Evans do
something.
As much as I love The Raid, seeing him do something that's in a different genre like this, and as you just said, put something out for me to enjoy, was very good also. So I really enjoyed it. Some of the cinematography is really good.
Was there fights or?
Not really. No. There's like a one bit of like a couple hits of cinematography, whatever you call it, but it's not really what I'd qualify it at all. You'd love it, Ash, is what I'm saying. This is what it boils down to.
I don't know if you're being serious or not.
No, you'd love it.
I really want to see it. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah. Is that it? Anything else you got to say about it?
No, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
All right. The other thing I'm sure you're dying to talk about, The Haunting on Hill House.
One of the best shows of the year, easy.
Yep.
One of Netflix's best shows ever, easy. possibly their best show ever. I'd have to think more about it, but it's currently riding on the edge of just kicking off some other shows that would fight for that title. But it's easily one of Netflix's best shows.
Okay, so what is the show? Explain it for people like me who don't know what it is.
So premise is it's a horror show, but at the same time it's very much a drama, and that's the reason that the show becomes so binge worthy is because you could wonder, how does a 10-hour like long horror thing work? Because most of the time horror movies, of course, they're only made 90 minutes for a reason. It's because you build the tension up and up and up, and then it explodes, and then the movie's over with the thing. The reason this works so well is because the story, the characters, and the drama is really what's tying it all together, and the horror is kind of secondary. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but really the reason it's so good is because of the story, the characters, and all that.
It's a family drama.
Yeah, with a horror tie thing. And it really is a family drama because the plot revolves around, so you got a mum, dad moving. How many kids is there? 6,
5.
Right? 5, okay.
Yeah.
5 kids, they live in a house, and the movie starts when they're living in the house that would be called the Hill House. They're living in the house as kids, and then in the first episode, it kind of flashes forward eventually, after you see a little bit of spookiness start happening. And that's how the show works. It's constantly flashing backwards and forwards between the grown-up kids in the future who are now off living their lives and flashing back to their time in Hill House. And from episode 1, you know something goes wrong in that house and they have to leave one night, abruptly run out. So you know something goes down that has them leave the house. However, you also know that the grown-up kids, some of them believe in what they, spookiness happened. Some of them, or the majority of them, are kind of just like, we were kids, dad's full of shit, he filled us with these stories, other things happened, So then the drama comes in when, I don't know how you can go as far as without saying it. The drama ensues when something happens within the family that draws them all coming back together eventually, and that happens in episode 6, which is probably the best television episode of anything you can watch all year, and I'm pretty sure you would have seen everyone tweeting about it by now, but episode 6 is
one continuous shot.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So episode 6 is, I think they said it's like several 15 to 20 minute shots, but like from the second that episode starts, I don't think it cuts for like 20 minutes, and then it does a sneaky cut where but they've made it look like they haven't cut, but they did actually stop and then start the next piece, and then they go for another long thing. But watching that all happen, it's just like, the actors are all fucking phenomenal. They're all basically performing a stage play, and episode 6 is when the family drama just comes to such a like explosive element, and that's what's happening on screen the most, is you just got actors yelling and arguing, and this is all exploding, and then the tension in the background is kind of building up from the horror elements at the same time. And then they do these really cool things where they built, like, I suppose 2 different stage designs together, and when they cross back into it, so they do a flashback on without cutting, like they just cross through thing. And that was all great, but yeah, so it's not your usual horror movie style. I would say it is scary. Episode 5 really got on my nerves quite a lot. Yeah. And then some other parts in the first few episodes. But then I think once you get past episode 6 or 7 and they start heading towards the end, the scary stuff kind of died off for me. Not that I found that to be a problem, because the direction they were taking the story was definitely more about the characters and the story and what was happening there than the horror and the freakiness at that point. But easily one of the best shows of the year.
Do they leave it open for a second season?
So one of the complaints people have is it's nothing like the book, which I have no problem with, because it's like, if I wanted to read the book, I'd read the book, and they've made the book into a movie twice.
Yeah.
So they've taken the source material and done something else. However, I think if they did decide to do a second season, they could basically tell the plot of the book in the second season with some kind of changes. But the main premise of the book, which is people staying in the house, the ghost people staying in the house or whatever, they could still do that in a second season, which would be good, because you couldn't do the same sort of story as the first season again. No. It just wouldn't work. Yeah. So you should watch it, Ash, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, Nick, you're like halfway through. Okay, do you hold Dylan's high
I do
regard? Yeah.
Yeah. Season 5, obviously I haven't seen episode 6 yet, but episode 5 was one of the best 60 minutes of like horror terror things I've watched of recent memory.
Way it pays off at the end.
Yeah.
And brings it all together.
Yeah.
So good.
So I've seen you've also watched the first episode of the new season of Daredevil, Nick.
I have.
Thoughts?
I'm really enjoying it. Like, I never watched Defenders or anything like that, so I had to read a little recap to see what had happened up to that point. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a very, like Daredevil has been, it's almost like a Batman type story where conflicting, like, do I still want to keep on doing this? Have I hit my limit? Does the world even need me anymore? That kind of stuff. But I think it's very well done so far. And I'm keen to watch the rest of it.
Cool. So me and Dylan have both watched the first 2 episodes of Riverdale. I'm enjoying it so far. The thing I'm enjoying the most so far is probably the Jughead Betty storyline, where it seems to be some sort of
Supernatural.
Who the fuck
supernatural
calls a kid
cult
Jughead?
murders. Something to do with D&D. Some sort of role-playing game.
Was it gargoyles and
Gargoyles
and
something.
something? Yeah. Griffins.
Gardens.
Gargoyles and griffins, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what do you thought of the season so far? Or how it kicked off?
I really enjoyed the first episode and everything it's set up. I didn't think the second episode was as strong. Primarily because of the prison shit, the weird prison shit that was happening with Archie.
Yeah.
Spoilers,
that was an
Archie's in
interesting
prison.
move.
Yeah, I have no problem with him being in prison because I'm sure they'll get him out like
It's
before
juvenile
halfway
detention.
the season. Yeah, but like spoilers for the second episode because you're either watching it or you're not at this point. I feel they do like a football match and then the girls all show up in their cheerleader outfits and they sing like that prison's one of those I can't remember the name of it now, but one of the famous like prison break songs.
The Elvis one.
Yeah,
Jailhouse Rock.
Jailhouse Rock, yeah. They sing that, and that was all nonsense. But
Side note, I like the bit where Veronica like goes and talks to her dad in the middle of the song, and then she has to come back and
then
finish
comes
the song.
back, and she comes in and finishes the song perfectly, jumps back in on cue, and everything. It's great. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see where the Betty Jughead stuff is going because I don't believe they're going actual supernatural. Although they could because Sabrina and they tied in or whatever.
Well, Sabrina's
But at
coming
the
out
same
next week.
Yeah. The same time I believe they're not is because then all of a sudden they're leaning this show too heavily on Sabrina and because Sabrina's going to be out, all episodes pop, bang, flash, everyone watches
And
it
it's
in a
not
week
on the
and then
same
it's
network,
over.
so
Yeah. So
it'll be on Netflix. Well,
I think
not in
I think they're
America
just
anyway.
trying. I'm okay if it is supernatural. I'm perfectly okay if that's what it turns out to be. But if I was guessing, I'm going to put my money currently on it being a bit of tricky. It's not actually supernatural stuff happening.
It's drugs.
Could be a cult, but
It's jingle
weird-
jangle.
yeah, it's jingle jangle. Everyone's popping too many jingle jangles over there. Got them going on. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'd say I've enjoyed both episodes so far enough. I think, especially because I found season 2 hit or miss compared to the first season. That was good. So
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. That beach summer montage was very good to watch.
oh dear.
Terrible. Me and Nick have also watched the second season of Big Mouth. Nick, what'd you think? I thought it was yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed most of it. I enjoyed the Shane Wizard and all that.
Yeah, he
I
was
think
a
it
good
got
addition.
a bit too meta for me. Talking to the camera, lecturing you about Hillary and fucking all this different stuff and self-referential. It got a bit too far in that direction for me in some points, but overall I think it was good for just a binge watch, have a laugh.
Yeah. I'm surprised what they were allowed to get away with.
Yeah, exactly.
What they could actually show. Like, there's a scene in
so
that
new children.
the Korean spa. I'm like,
Yeah.
this might be child pornography.
Yeah, or when Nick is dangling from the wall
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Um,
It definitely pushes the limits.
it pushes the boundaries. Yeah. And I enjoyed the meta stuff. Like, they did like a Planned Parenthood episode about Planned Parenthood. If you don't know what that is, it's like a women's health thing that is
Abortion
villainized because they do abortions as well as other basic women's care things. But yes, they did an episode around that, and then of course it ends with like a Saturday Night Live ending, which makes sense because John Mulaney was a writer on Saturday Night Live for ages. So yeah, Big Mouth. Check it out, season 2.
Coach Steve is the best character.
Who is?
Coach Steve.
He is pretty good. One other thing I forgot to mention before we hit the mandatory Netflix segment. I watched the first 2 episodes of Star Wars Resistance. It's okay. Yeah. I'm not into it yet. I think the problem is the character's like the main character is like an overconfident sort of kid, so I'm not liking him at the moment, but it looks pretty. BB-8's in it, so, and they do have Poe in the first episode, but I haven't seen him since. So,
is this the new Rebels type thing?
The new Star Wars Rebels TV show, Starfighter, Disney XD. Have you watched it yet, Dylan? Or are you avoiding it? Or what are your feelings?
I don't think it started yet.
Yeah, it started 2 weeks ago.
It definitely started.
It's going to be on Foxtel, but Australia's airing it 2 weeks like they went.
No, it's on Foxtel.
Oh.
I recorded on Disney XD.
I thought that was like I thought they were like a week or 2 behind or something.
Nope.
No, they're not on the same week. There's no way, because I remember when it aired in America, I looked it up and it was not airing on Foxtel at the time. It was like a week or 2 later. So it's either a week behind or 2 weeks behind.
I saw the first 2 episodes on Disney XD, so...
Unless my app was fucking lying to me or something. Oh, well. I'll get to it soon. But I was going to hold off until the last minute because I would have to like cancel one of my packages to add the Disney XD package. So I was going to do that to the last second, obviously, to just get my money's worth, whatever. But to make better use of my money.
It's not an urgent thing. You can wait till a couple more episodes build up and then you can form an opinion.
How do you find the animation style? Because from what I've seen of it, it doesn't look like it's something I'd enjoy.
No, it's more for kids. Cell shaded, I guess, is the best. That would be the best term.
It looks like another show that I can't put my finger on right now that I don't really like.
Yeah, I don't mind the animation. It works with like the fighter pilots and the airships. I'm assuming it's easier for them in some way because it's set like on a platform in the middle of the ocean for some reason. Because
I don't really mind because I don't want all the Star Wars animation shows to look the same. So,
but they're all canon.
Yeah, but I don't want them all. I'm against that. I want them all to be unique in some regards. Or what's the point? What's the point of doing animation if you're not going to do different styles? You know, like if you shoot live action, it's always going to look like fucking live action because it's real actors. You know, it's always going to have live action feel. One of the benefits of animation is you can do different styles of.
I'm not saying it as doing it the same as another one, but it's just that particular style they've chosen. I don't really like.
Yeah, I think it does. I don't know what the show is, but it does look like a lot of kid shows if you look at them these days. And this one, more than Rebels, from everything I've seen and read about it, is more targeted at kids than even Rebels was.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, not that I have a problem with that, but that's fine.
Dylan, you also watched the first couple episodes of the new season of Making a Murderer. Did they need to make a second season from what you've seen so far?
No.
Have they made a murderer yet?
No. I mean, I'll probably keep watching it just because, like, I watched the first 2 episodes while I was doing stuff on my laptop, and I found it easy background. Like, I didn't need to pay attention to screen all the time, and I could just listen to them being like, well, the facts are blah, blah, you know, just rife off facts. And so I'll probably finish it, but at the same time, nothing is drastically going to change by the end of it, or else I would have heard about it on social media already. So there's not a big, compared to the first season where you're like, fuck, like you don't know anything about the story. I now know everything about the story, really, or all the important things. And I'm not going to get to the episode 10 and have my fucking mind blown away. But at the same time, it's all right to watch in the background. It felt like they could have just, maybe if they want to do a second season, gone off and investigated another similar sort of case, false accusation or whatever, and come back to this one maybe down the line if something drastically changes between either Brendan or I can't remember the main dude's name, but between either of the two people who are in jail. Have either of you watched it? Surely.
Nope.
I started watching the first season, but I fell off it. I found it not engaging enough.
All right. I found the first one I binged. Like, I was fucking on board. Like, I'm pretty sure I watched it all over 2 days. Just couldn't stop watching it. But yeah, the second one just doesn't have the same grab. That's what I'm saying. Because if either of the two people who they're trying to get out of jail had got out of, I would have seen it on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it is just a second season of, hey, here's some more background information. It's like, here's what's been happening since, in case you want to know. But is this important? No, not really. You could potentially skip this and come back for season 3 if either of them are out by then, because that's going to be way more interesting if they get behind the scenes access to someone coming out and what all the stuff that's going to happen then. But yeah, I'd suggest watching the first one if anyone out there hasn't, though. Even though you say it didn't really go for you. I think the first one's really interesting.
Cool. So let's go into some news, and related to Netflix, they've cancelled Iron Fist, and then a week later they cancelled Luke Cage.
Was it a week later? It felt like it was a day later.
It was literally a week later.
Okay.
Yeah, the Iron Fist one I felt was everybody sort of saw coming. Mm-hmm. It wasn't very well received, although the second season was apparently better than the first season. But I think that the Luke Cage cancellation was a bit more of a surprise. And the Luke Cage one seems to be more about creative differences. Apparently they came back with detailed scripts for the first 5 episodes of season 3, and Netflix and Marvel were not happy with it. So rather than get another creative team in again, which seems to be a running thing with these Netflix shows, it seems like every season somebody else is in charge. I don't think they've had anyone yet stick around for 2 seasons in a row. But yeah, instead of getting another creative team on, they've decided to cancel the show. And yeah. What do you guys think? I believe, Dylan, you've watched both series. Do you feel like
the first season of both? I haven't watched either of the second seasons.
Are we buying into all you need to know, really?
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we buying into they're just going to make a Heroes for Hire series? Are we buying into that rumor, or?
I don't think they can they?
Why not?
Unless they pay Marvel for the rights to do that.
Why?
Because it's like not a Netflix series.
Currently. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, are we buying into the rumor that they've set that up in the background, and this cancellation is just to build up, free publicity?
I don't think the characters have that much of a pull, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they've got the foresight to do that.
I think there's like Luke Cage. Luke Cage has more fans than Iron Fist does, for sure. There's a certain,
and also with the way, I don't know how it worked, because at the end of from what I read, the end of Iron Fist 2, some girl takes over the powers or something.
Oh, his sidekick, really? Yeah. Spoilers, but there you go.
Well, no one's watched it.
She's the best part of that show, by the way. She's the only reason I enjoyed watching the first season, if it's who I think it is. He's I said sidekick, but really she was the reason to watch the show.
Yeah.
Because she was the supporting character, but she was the most interesting character. And every time she was on, I'm like, yes, just make the entire show about her. And fuck Iron Fist off, so.
I was reading that someone was saying that a lot of it, the success wasn't that great because there isn't a whole lot of crossover. Like, Daredevil Season 3 is very solar. Like, they all live relatively close to each other. Why don't they show up more often in each other's things?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the comics...
in any show that doesn't have anything that can cross over, it seems to work fine, so I don't know what the problem is.
In the comics, that's why everyone's, I think, going on for the Heroes for Hire thing, is because those two characters are known for their like duo work more than their solo work, whereas I suppose Daredevil and Jessica Jones are more primarily solo characters, but those two are a duo.
I don't know, just in the comics, Jessica Jones is married to Luke Cage, so...
Yeah, but like her first series of comics was Alias Comics. So
yeah, and in that, Luke Cage is in that having relations.
Relations?
Yeah.
What's that nasty shit? I've watched the second season of Jessica Jones though.
Yeah.
So there's my ranking for you. I've watched the second season of that. I haven't watched the second season of the other two. That's
as long as they didn't cancel Punisher and Daredevil, I'm happy.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Punisher be cancelled.
Yeah. Well, they've already working on the second season or wrapping up on it or something like that, I've read.
Do you buy into the theory that these are going to pop up on Disney Play?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, condolences to any fans. The very few of you who are upset that these are going away. I'm making light of it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are upset from everybody complaining.
I saw
no
a
one's
bunch
upset
of.
about Iron Fist.
I did see some pictures of like young kids, black kids in America, that were fans, and people were posting those like they really enjoyed it because obviously he's the superpowered black man. So from that aspect, I think there might be people that miss it in that audience, which is.
And I would say watch Black Lightning. That's still going.
Is it?
I haven't watched it.
Does it have the same elements of? Because I mean, Luke Cage, especially the first season, does do a lot of subtle hinting at he's a black man who's invincible to bullets. So they did play on that whole. They did go with that storyline.
Well, Black Lightning's a black guy with lightning powers, so
beats bullets. Does it? Is that?
I know. He's got a family. He's got kids. Another dimension. All right. In other streaming news, Funimation and Crunchyroll have broken up. So Funimation, who has been bought by Sony, is breaking off from their deal with Crunchyroll, and surprise, surprise, they're going to start up their own streaming service.
Oh
it's a big deal because they're going to be taking shows like My Hero Academia, Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, Assassination Classroom, Death Parade, and classics like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Attack on Titan, and Your Name. Is this a smart move? I feel like there's no way either both of these are going to survive on top of Anime Lab, which is the other major streaming anime service that I'm aware of.
Do you know why they will? Because My Hero Academia is enough for people to just subscribe to that.
I don't know why anyone pays for it, to be honest, because I've watched all my anime on YouTube. You can just find whole episodes on there.
It's probably not the same high quality, and people may want to support the proper routes, but
But
Gotta be frugal this day and age.
And if you're only watching Evangelion, then people want to watch more anime.
Watching Goblin Slayer and Berserk and.
Oh, you've been telling lies then. Nick's watching more than one anime over here now.
Yeah,
this was before last episode. I mean, after last episode.
Fake Evangelion fan.
No, doesn't make me any less of an Evangelion fan.
He's like, I need something. I got that. Need something to fill that hole. That seeing as it's not there at the moment. I also find it interesting. Apparently, Crunchyroll started off as like a fan website and sort of grew into
They'll explain the
streaming
forums.
service it is.
They'll explain the forums and shit over there, probably.
Yeah. But yeah. It'll be interesting to see if it works. Yeah. I mean, they've got Sony's money behind them, so they'll be supported for at least a little while. In important Fast and the Furious news. Producer Neil Moritz is suing Universal over the Hobbs and Shaw film.
Oh, this story.
So Neil Moritz has been there since day dot. He was there on the original film. Apparently, he had an oral agreement to be producer and get paid a certain amount for every subsequent film. And with the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off, he was offered less money to be a part of it. He said, "No, you're going to pay me what I'm worth, or what you said you were going to pay me." And then they subsequently kicked him off the film. So, so this is in court at the moment. It's not good. I don't know. Those background. It seems like he's not like actively part of production. It's like a a figurehead.
This is like, rich guy doesn't get as much money as he wants, but still got offered a bunch of money and spits the dummy for no fucking reason. So as far as I'm concerned, he can get fucked. That's my stance on it. Because it seems like this was a nice deal for him set up from the start. Because he hasn't done done really anything after then. He's just, hey, you helped set up the franchise, so now you're basically back cashing royalty checks
Yeah.
for the Fast and Furious franchise. Then they go to do a spin-off, at which they're like, look, it's a spin-off from the franchise you helped create from
With
day
two
one.
characters that you didn't create.
That you didn't have anything to do with, but we're still offering you a high amount of money for nothing. And he's like, no, I want more. So yeah, I like, as soon as I read this story, I was just like, rich white man asked for more money for no reason. Headline. Moving on.
I know. It just goes to show you should have every contract written down. Because it's an oral agreement, and written contract would be more safe, I guess.
Just goes to show you that some people, they're just, these rich fucks in Hollywood, they just, don't know, just, no idea.
Yep. All right, so we found out a little bit more about the Apple streaming service that they're going to be releasing all their original content onto. Apparently, it's going to be free for people with Apple products.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so anybody with like an Apple TV, an iPad, an iPod, or I guess a Mac, will be able to use the TV app that's on there. Apparently, I don't know. I've got an Android. Nick's got an Android. He doesn't know either. Yeah, and yeah, all their original shows will be offered for free. Is this a smart decision? Because they're apparently spending $1 billion on this content.
Yes.
I don't think they're going to get much
who's
return
going to
on
use
it.
it that doesn't have an Apple device already?
I don't think it's going to make anyone suddenly want to switch devices.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a small 0.1% switch for this. You know, very, very small amount of people who, for whatever reason, decide that they would switch. But I reckon the people who would switch that easy really don't care too much about phones, and they're just happy to. My contract's out, Apple free service, fuck it, I'll get an Apple this time around, you know. But I think as a brand loyalty type thing, I think it's a very smart move for them to say, hey, you stick on Apple, you know, you don't have to pay extra for our TV service, this part of thing. I think that's a really good consumer-friendly choice, I suppose, for Apple consumers. I don't. It's definitely not a. You're not going to make bank on people switching to your phones and whatever else off this, but it is, especially in the last couple of years when you've got all the headphone jack stuff and whatever else, and they've had a lot of negative press and a lot of people saying, fuck this, I'm switching from Apple to Google Pixel or Android or whatever people have been doing for numerous issues. I think doing a decision like this is not a big decision, but it is something that is good. Yeah.
Well, if you consider that, I think, 30-40% of the phone market is iPhones, that's a fair percentage of your potential audience. That
What I'm interested in is it going to be free for a certain time, then they're going to start charging.
Wait for the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
And someone will read them. Someone out there will actually read them and put them on Reddit. So here's what was important. Here you go. I've
You'd be like, it's free, but Apple reserves the right to change its subscription model.
No, it's like
in the
free for the first 6 months.
guarantee something like that'll be in there. Yeah.
People are theorizing that the reason they're doing this is they want people to go to the Apple TV, and then they'll be able to subscribe to other channels.
Yeah.
Like
So Apple TV,
HBO Stars
the
and
app on your Apple TV, which is weird because it's like there's a TV app in your Apple TV. What it is it basically brings all the streaming services that you can have on your Apple TV into one thing, and then up above it, say you're halfway through watching a movie on Stan, it's right there in the front. Hey, you have another episode coming up soon on Netflix, it's right next to that. So it's one app that kind of brings all your different apps together nicely under one thing, which is really good. Obviously, when you can't remember what you want to watch, or you just want an overview of your many streaming services to see what you want to look for. And then the other nice thing is that you could search for a movie or a TV show, and it'll search all the different streaming services.
Yeah. So I assume they want you to subscribe to those through the Apple TV app, because I assume if you do it that way, Apple gets a cut.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing with
that's the thing with a lot
Fortnite.
of things.
I think they want you to download it on your phone outside of the store, so they can take a bigger cut.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's interesting.
Sure. Well, I'm not going to complain about another streaming service if they're giving them to me for free.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to that. Sad day on Sesame Street. The original Big Bird slash Oscar the Grouch, Carol Spiney is retiring after 50 years in the big yellow suit.
God, pave ways to some new talent for once.
Well, to be fair, his understudy, Matt Vogel, has been playing it since 2016, but he's been providing the voices for the show. What are your thoughts on Sesame Street? Was that something you guys grew up on?
I grew up on it, but I hold no strong feelings towards it.
No.
I was about to say something similar. Yeah, I used to kick back, watch a bit of Sesame Street, but it's not really my style anymore. I can count past 10.
I'd rather watch Muppets Treasure Island.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather watch Paw Patrol. Growing up.
I know. It's crazy that Sesame Street's going to be 50 years old, though. That's
I believe it.
a long time.
Good luck to that person who you just said retired. They did a really good job at being in the bird suit and doing the things.
Wait,
It's
was
just
it-
like
really-
play school. It's just going to exist in perpetuity.
They're quite literally the tallest person I've ever seen.
Yeah. Also, so he stopped doing it in 2016. He's currently 84 years old.
Jesus
So he was
Christ.
still doing it when he was 82. That's
Hardcore.
That's mental. Crazy.
No wonder Big Bird moves so slow in the later seasons. I always used to say it, season 46 shit slowed down.
And I guess the last thing I'll touch on. Apparently, a new series is coming from the team behind Sherlock. Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss are going to be doing a Dracula series.
One.
It's not- No, you're thinking of The Count. We're still on this
Oh,
mystery.
sorry.
Like Sherlock, it's going to be 3 90-minute installments. But unlike Sherlock, it's not going to be modernized. It's going to be set in 1897. Is this something you guys are keen on?
I'll watch it because of who's creating it, but it has... Dracula is so hit and miss in media, it's just... I have faith that they're going to do something good with it, but I'm not terribly excited for it either.
Same sentiments, just because who's involved, I'm automatically like, yeah, sure, I'll watch that. I find it funny they didn't bring it up to current day though, because they brought Sherlock obviously up to current day, but then they've also done, I don't know if Mark Gatiss did it, I know Steve Moffat did it, I don't know if Gatiss was involved, but he did a Jekyll Hyde series that was set in the current day as well.
Yeah.
Hyde, that was set during the current day as well, so it's funny how this one they've just decided, this one
I think it's because
modernize.
Dracula has been done so much in the modern times.
Especially with movies that got poor reviews, I suppose, is the thing.
Yeah. Twilight. Just sorry, take it back to OG time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Like,
he's got the Victorian bug. A lot of his end of his era of Doctor Who was set in the Victorian era.
That's true.
And they did that
I'll watch
episode of Sherlock where they went back
in
to
time.
Victorian times.
I still never watched that one.
The Reichenbach fold
Yeah.
that was actually set at the right waterfall.
It's
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Cool.
I'll watch it simply because who's involved. But yeah, it's like Dracula's just overplayed. You know.
Yeah.
It's not.
Vampires are overplayed.
You really need to do something really interesting to kind of stand out with it, I guess. And I don't know. I don't think they'll do it unless they did have a good idea for something interesting, I suppose.
Do we know when it's going to come out?
2026.
Yeah.
Probably. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Sherlock season 4.
There is no release date.
Sherlock.
Yeah, there's no release date.
Get ready for whenever, if it comes out next year, get prepared for season 2 10 years from now.
It is also it will be a BBC/Netflix show.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And this is on top of Stephen Moffat currently doing an adaptation of the Time Traveler's Wife, so he's a busy guy.
He's got free time these days.
Yeah. Amazing how much free time you have when you're not doing
Torture.
one of the longest running TV shows in history.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it for the news, but I figured it's been a while. Why don't we play a bit of Which Would You Rather Watch?
I enjoy this game.
Just hits us with it. Just
If
hits
you
us
haven't-
with it. Just hits us with the game.
Yeah, if you haven't heard this segment before, we go to flickchart.com. They give us 2 movies to pit against each other. We pick one, But if one of us hasn't watched one of the films, it gets added to our list of shame, which is quite lengthy. Not pointing fingers, but it's my fault.
Pointing at yourself.
Yeah. So the first films we've got Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Beauty and the Beast, the animated film from 1991. I didn't realize that was a 1991 film. I always thought it was older, but...
Yeah, this is an easy one. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I'd go Beauty and the Beast.
I'd guess Star Wars.
Insane in the membrane.
Did we agree that Attack of the Clones is the worst of the
It
Star
is
Wars
the
films?
worst of the worst.
I still enjoyed it.
Stands so rough and cold.
I mean, it gave us that, so can't be too bad. Next films, Quantum of Solace and The Bourne Supremacy.
Bourne.
Wait for you to say you haven't watched Bourne, Ash.
No, I've seen that one. I've seen the first
Holy
two Bourne movies.
Fuck. What the... You could be finishing out the trilogy? Jesus.
No, it's-
Isn't
Bourne
there 4 or
Supremacy.
5 movies now?
There is
Well, I
now
mean,
5
there's that-
movies.
Yeah, there is, but come on, you just watch the trilogy and you forget the rest
Yeah,
of it.
I don't know. I just haven't got around to it.
Bourne Supremacy, Quantum Solace.
Also,
is
fun
a
fact, I do
throwing
own a
up
signed
mess.
poster of Jeremy Renner's Bourne
What
film.
the fuck?
No, I like won it. I won it, and it's still in the tube that got mailed into me. I've never opened it.
You
Okay, I was
wanted
about to say
crack
extrapolate on that story, but
Yeah.
okay.
So if anybody wants a signed Bourne,
Don't give that away. That could be worth money. That's
Yeah, that
fucking
could be
Hawkeye,
something.
man. You
Never
gotta wait
mind.
for the next Avengers movie. Jeremy Renner's about to be a hot star coming in as Ronan,
yeah, I
bow
should
and
wait.
arrows.
Get my his stock's about to rise.
Ah,
here.
This is hard.
Next two films, School of Rock and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It's tough.
Oh, brother, where are
Have
they?
you
I
seen
would go
both,
School of
actually?
Rock. I've seen
Yeah,
both,
that's
yeah. I would go School of Rock.
Yeah.
You're hitting us with surprises these
Yeah,
days,
I would go
aren't
School of Rock too. Like, A Brother Without There was good for a watch, but I'd rather watch School of Rock more.
I mean,
I
it's
reckon
pretty
I
close.
have-
There is some cringy stuff in School of Rock, probably. I haven't seen it in a while, but I feel like,
you? I like both, so I'm happy with
yeah.
being outvoted. It's fine.
Too
Next
bad if you weren't happy
films.
with it.
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, and Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, next one.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's an easy one. We've got Zoolander and Memento. I haven't seen Memento.
Ah,
There we go.
so that was a tough choice.
I was going to vote for Memento.
So now we have Zoolander against the 2003 version of Daddy Daycare.
Zoolander.
Zoolander.
Can you hear me now?
Cats and Dogs versus Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. You guys seen
Man, I saw that.
Cats
I
and
saw
Dogs?
that movie in this. I saw that movie in the cinemas.
Yeah,
as a
same.
kid. Cats and Dogs in the cinema.
So do I. I
was
think
probably
Grandma took me to see it.
yeah.
But Anchorman.
But Anchorman.
Yeah,
But
Anchorman,
Anchorman.
100%.
I
Was
just don't think I'd
Maguire
seen
the
that
main?
movie since since the year it came out. I was like, what the fuck?
Austin Powers and Goldmember versus Night in the Museum.
It's gold, man. Gold member.
Gold member.
I'll
I
go
have a
Night
soft
in the
spot for
Museum.
Austin Powers.
It's like a smoke on a pancake.
Which one did you go, Dylan?
Gold member.
Okay.
Did you not hear all the gold member quotes you was just saying?
You could just be saying them for the sake of saying them.
That was one of the first M-rated movies I saw. I think I've watched it a few times.
All right. Spaceballs versus Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I haven't seen the entirety of Spaceballs.
Me either.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Okay.
So Jumanji versus Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Jumanji.
Jumanji. This is the original 1995 version, by the way.
Oh, you should clarify. I forgot. It's so weird.
This is
my
the
Yeah,
original
brain-
it's so
board game
weird that we live in
version.
a world with the Jumanji sequel.
Yeah, that's weird.
This is
Read that shit.
Zathura.
Oh, yeah. Christian Stewart in space.
Oh, yeah. Goldmember versus Live Free and Die Hard. I haven't seen Live Free and Die Hard.
I'd rather live free and die hard and gold member. You know what I'm saying?
Not really. Austin Powers and Goldmember versus Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, yeah.
Austin Powers.
All right. Next up, Superbad versus Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace is super bad. Yeah, it's a super bad.
Yes.
But Superbad's the pick, yeah. Next up, we have Con Air versus Attack of the Clones. I haven't seen Con Air.
Oh, really?
Man.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the next movie.
That has to be up there. Yeah.
All right. Mars Attacks against Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Mars
I've
Attacks.
seen both.
Mars Attacks.
What?
It was the alien noise.
Oh, okay. All right. Next two films are Moulin Rouge and Knocked Up. I haven't seen Moulin Rouge.
Neither have I.
Oh my god. Baz Luhrmann.
Sorry, Baz. Actually, I'm not sure if I've watched a Baz Luhrmann film.
Oh, do you even support Australia's highest director?
Well, apparently, Australia wasn't very
George
good. so-
Miller.
But George Miller probably is by now, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say George Miller's probably at least the highest grossing. Mad Max would have made a lot of money. Anyway, the films are Dogma and Knocked Up.
Dogma.
Dogma. I think it's my favourite Kevin Smith.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
It made me believe in Jesus.
Watchmen versus Wild Things. I haven't seen Wild Things.
Neither have I.
Oh, fuck. Did you have a team? Did you ever learn the wank?
I've been on the internet. I know what's in that film. Watchmen versus Lord of the Rings Return of the King.
Fuck.
This is a hard one.
This
It
is a
is.
hard one.
Lord of the Rings for me. I've watched Lord of the Rings far more times. I've had the urge to watch it far more times than I have watched it.
I would go Watchmen.
No! Why?
I don't know. I just feel like
Why? You've put it in my hands, you fucker.
well, that too. But yeah, I feel like if I was going to watch Return of the King, I'd need to watch the first two films first.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's a big commitment.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that was really hard.
I feel like I can watch Watchmen and have my fill of it for a couple of years, whereas I almost get yearly urgings to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I can watch Return of the King without watching it. Return of the King is basically Lord of the Rings for me. I don't need to watch the other two before it. I can just watch that.
Two Towers is my favourite.
Well, that's interesting. But...
Two Towers probably got the best fights. I think. Anyway. Transformers versus Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump, come on.
Forrest Gump.
I was waiting for you to say you haven't seen Forrest Gump.
I definitely have watched Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
That used to be on TV all the time.
Okay.
Life's like a box of chocolates. Sometimes you get good movies. Sometimes you get Transformers.
Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which is the third one, versus Titanic.
Titanic was at World's End when it crashed into that iceberg. Am I saying? You know what I'm saying? Titanic.
If you believe the Earth is flat, I guess.
Titanic.
Titanic, yeah.
Yeah, Titanic.
Meet the Parents versus Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Next film, Shrek 2 versus 50 First Dates. I would pick...
Shrek 2.
I'd pick 50 First Dates.
I would also pick 50 First Dates. Yeah.
But I am Puss in Boots.
Captain America, the First Avenger versus the 1992 animated Aladdin.
Aladdin, easy.
Yeah, Aladdin.
Yeah.
I really don't like First Avenger.
I don't know why you... I don't know. It's interesting
2
how
hours.
divisive that film is.
It's a 2-hour trailer for the Avengers, as far as I'm concerned.
If they had
Not
to
even.
cut the start, the two bookends, would you still have that problem?
Yes, because it's boring.
Wrong.
Wrong. Wrong as he
You've been
clicks
told,
Aladdin.
Dylan. Change your opinion now.
Blade Runner versus Elf.
Let
I
me
haven't seen
say,
Elf.
I was about to say, no shit, that would completely different movies in Always Possible, but that would have been a really hard choice to make.
Yeah.
Because Elf is like one of the. I watch that every Christmas and it still holds up as just
Wait.
funny.
What?
And
You haven't watched Elf?
No, I have watched it. I'm saying it holds up every Christmas.
I haven't seen Elf.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, that's that
So
Christmas movie.
we should pick it for what do you
Yeah.
what do you watch for Christmas?
Coming this
year,
December.
possibly? Yeah, we'll do a Christmas movie.
Blade Runner versus Kingdom of Heaven. Coincidence,
haven't
that's
seen
another
Kingdom
movie
of
we'll
Heaven.
definitely be seeing soon because I haven't seen Kingdom of Heaven.
Never mind.
I have the director's cut Blu-ray. I bought off eBay because I wanted to watch it.
Blade Runner versus Ice Age. Blade Runner.
What cut of Blade Runner?
Any cut is better than
Blade
Ice
Runner.
Age.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't know
like
what
the
cut I
normal
watched,
I
to
love
be
the
perfectly
theatrical
honest.
cut of Blade Runner.
I love the theatrical cut of it. I love the director's cut of Ice Age. Kill
Shrek. Shrek versus Fight Club. I haven't watched Fight Club.
What?
I started watching it and I was really tired and I fell asleep and then I had to return the DVD.
It should have
His name
filled
is
you
Robert
with
Paulson.
filled you with adrenaline and kept you awake.
It had meatloaf in it with boobs.
Last one. Shrek versus South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Shrek.
South Park.
Ugh. I feel like Shrek is the better
I think Shrek
full-rounded
is a lot
film.
more rewatchable.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go with Shrek. I do love my South Park, that film, but I think Shrek is the better film overall, and I'll probably watch it again. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this awesome segment. So Nick, what did we end up watching?
We ended up watching Threads.
The time has now come to make everything ready for you and your family in case an air attack happens. When you hear the attack warning, you and your family must take cover at once. The most widespread danger is fallout.
Quite good. Attack warning. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real. Is it?
You can't just do a face like that. Go get a titty sign or something. Come on, quick, get down.
Hell.
Yes, Threads. So it's a 1984 BBC British apocalyptic war drama television film. Co-produced
I'd
by
call it a
BBC,
documovie.
Channel 9, and someone called Western World Television Incorporated. Written by Barry Hines, directed by Mick Jackson. It shows the effects of nuclear holocaust on the working class city of Sheffield, England, and the eventual long-term effects of nuclear war on civilization. Nick, why on earth did you pick this?
Because I saw a Reddit thread of like what movies make you feel like the absolute worst, and this was one of the ones on there. I thought,
Not a
this
bad
is-
friend.
this is interesting. I haven't seen it before. I thought we'd give it a go, but yeah.
Okay, do you want to hit us with your hashtag Nick's mini review?
All right, Threads. This docu-movie is a science-based dramatization of the lead-up, climax, and aftermath of a nuclear war. Profound for its time, but by today's standards, it's hard to watch. It starts with some semblance of a story, then turns into a disjointed mess. 4 out of 10. Hashtag Nick's mini review.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty accurate score. Even a bit high, in my opinion. This was,
Yeah.
like, a really hard to watch. Like, just to be motivated to watch it.
Leading up to the bomb, it was alright, and I was getting into it, but afterwards...
I
it's just
lost
so-
it in the first 10 minutes. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't think the acting was very good. I didn't think any of the
No,
storytelling
well, I read that the
characters were
director,
interesting.
the director got all really unknown actors to give it a sense of realism to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it portrays very well like what would happen after the war, but as a piece of entertainment, I guess it just doesn't work for me.
No, it does not. Dylan, are you on board of this is terrible and we should not have watched this train?
I have really conflicting thoughts about it. So, I mean, it's basically what would happen if World War III happened, the movie.
Exactly.
Told in a semi-documentary style, which is really weird because you have the narrator, you have the facts come up on screen, you have shots that look like they could be from a documentary, but then they're incorporated to stuff that is definitely not a documentary.
Yeah,
So
they couldn't
then
make up their mind what they wanted to do, and so they did both. And went, we'll fix it in post.
And then it's a movie, but I would argue it's less a movie and more of a 2-hour product of why you should be scared of the possibility of nuclear war.
It's an anti-nuclear war ad.
Yeah.
In that sense, it worked really well, because fucked if I want to live in that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I find it really hard to chuck a random number on, because I don't think it holds up very well. It's and I mean, to be fair, the way we watched it, which is all the same, is not like you can pick up. I think they released a Blu-ray in the UK in like February or something like that. Yeah, so that would probably look a lot better than the way Will's watching it, which is a 4:3. Seemed like VHS rip,
Yeah.
something. So that wasn't really helping out the scenario at all. I'd agree that acting's all over the place. As a product,
Fun fact: the dad of the guy does the voice of K9.
K9, yeah, that's when I was looking them all up, I was like, I know that name, and I clicked on him. It was K9. I'm like, that's where I know the name from. But the rest of them, no idea. Oh, apart from the director, because it was the director of was it Bodyguard or something? Or the writer. One of those two did Bodyguard.
The Whitney Houston. Body. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think I'd give it like a 5. Like,
yeah, towards the end, I just could not care. I just really couldn't care.
I would agree that I kind of fell off in the last third, I guess. I think I was more on board for the first 2/3, and then that last third just kind of seemed to rush towards more of just informational shit.
Yeah, 6 months, then 5 years, then 10 years, then 12 years.
And they were like these random 5-minute like
vignette things. Yeah.
They're like, this is what happened. I mean, spoilers, but they're like, that, especially the part where like, blah, 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 fetuses will be born fucked up. And then we have the birth scene. And then after that, it's like, skips ahead more time. And then skips ahead more time. It's like, working in the field. That character's fucking dead now. Here's a daughter, sex, another baby. I mean, towards the end, it just kind of lost the plot. But I'd say for the first 2/3, even though for the amount, it was made with 400,000 pounds or euros or whatever the fuck it is, which obviously
that would have been a lot
much.
back then.
I think the most bizarre thing about this is that Channel 9 had anything to do with it at all.
Well, they only aired it once in the thing, it said.
And they aired it without commercials, apparently.
Yeah.
It's just, that makes sense. Who would want to put their ads in the middle of that?
Yeah. I'll say it's something that I'm kind of glad I watched that's really obscure, so it's in the back of my mind as something like just fills your mind with information of obscure movie knowledge in case it happens in the trivia competition. As a movie, it's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
But as a way of getting the message across, it's hard to falter that it doesn't make you go, fuck this shit, because it's very hard to watch. It's definitely not a happy movie. In fact, I'd say it's one of the... Well, I've watched a lot of unhappy shit. I mean, I watched Hereditary this year for a start. But, I mean, this is up there with the same kind of uncomfortableness for the majority of the movie where you just like... But at the same time, there was a segment there where I felt like I wanted to turn it off, but I couldn't look away at the same time, which was weird. It was only when the bomb stuff kicked off. Yeah. And I was like, and you're seeing all this, like people's faces starting to be melted and whatever else, and buildings crashing down at the same time. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. But at the same time, I was engrossed still at that point to a degree. And I'm not saying the special effects were really great, but I think the way they've edited it together with, like, obviously stock footage or whatever else. I don't know what it was. A combination of miniature buildings exploding, I would presume, or something easy like that. It works for what it is. But I'd say like a 5 solely because it does really well at getting its message across, which is World War III would be fucked.
Yeah, I think it presents its information in a very in-your-face way that if you had any sort of like, I don't care about nuclear bombs or whatever, this is a really... sells it to you that it's a bad thing if you didn't already think that.
I think the thing it does best, that if there was a Hollywood version of this movie, the army would come in and save the day, right? At the end of the movie. But this movie is just like, no, everyone's fucked. You're in a small fucking town of Sheffield out in the middle of nowhere. You're just fucked forever.
Exactly.
Whatever's left
Where's
is
the
helping
foreign
out
aid? That's what I want to know.
I tell you, this is a realistic Jericho.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is. Jericho's like, oh, nuclear bomb went off, but we'll just go fuck in the hills for a while and see what
everything will be
happens.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Well, what I don't understand is
Jericho is easy to watch.
Yeah, I enjoy Jericho. What I don't understand is, like, when I was looking up people's opinions and reviews on this, there were 9s and 10s and 7s and just really high rated, and I was like, I don't know where you're coming from.
I'd be interested to see when they actually saw it. Whether it's like their memory of seeing it back in the day.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine holding up now. Yeah. Look,
1984
IMDb's got an 8.1
telemovie.
at the moment. So
Yeah. For an 84 telemovie, I would say that was good. Like, I obviously wasn't alive then, but just trying to put yourself in that mindset of watching this on your small television that you had back then, sitting there, because you wouldn't have the problems that you do now to spot some of the bigger glaring special effects and whatever else issues, because you'd be watching on such a tiny TV. We're watching this on, huge, way bigger TVs than they had back then. So,
yeah.
Anyway, Threads.
Threads.
It's a movie.
it's a movie. I don't know. Do you think a remake would work? Do you think they could do a modernization of this?
I don't think so, because I think it would have to be a totally independent thing, because if any studio wanted to tackle it, I think they'd want to make it flashy and an entertaining product, and having to have, I don't know, big name actors and shit like that behind it. Like, I don't think it could work in the same, like, I guess, defining way it worked back then.
Yeah. I do. I just feel like, the documentary thing is what throws me, I think, the most. I think they should have either commit to that or, like, focused on somebody the whole way through, but that's my thing. All right, that brings us to the end of this week's What Do You Want to Watch? This, of course, is a product of the Explosion Network, which you can follow us on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Nick, where can people follow you on Twitter? And even Trakt.tv?
Lord Emperor, PRIOR.
What about you, Dylan?
Vivaladil, VIVALADIL.
Cool. And you can follow me at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. So coming up, we will be doing our Sabrina Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Chilling? You got it. Good job.
Review discussion. You'll be able to see it first on twitch.tv/Explosion Network. And if you can't see it live, you can always catch it 24 hours later at youtube.com/Explosion Network, or just go to explosionnetwork.com, where you'll probably find that and all our reviews and reacts and all the other amazing stuff we do. If you have any suggestions of films that we should end up watching, stuff that's obscure like Threads, I don't know, send us an email at mail@explosionnetwork.com. And if you really want to help us out, leave us a review either on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or let us know at PAX if you're at PAX today, tomorrow, or Sunday if you're listening to this day of release. I assume you are. You're probably traveling to PAX and just listening to this whole episode, get you in the mood. Even though it's got nothing related to video games at all. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
It is October, and that means it is going to be the biggest month in video gaming for Australia, with PAX Australia just coming up later this month. Of course, the Explosion Network is going to be there, giving you all the greatest coverage that you can expect from the event, from everything from the panels, the games, what's happening day to day, articles, videos, all sorts of fun things on social media. It's going to be great. That means you need to head on over to explosionnetwork.com. Make sure you keep your eyes locked there. Bookmark our PAX page that's available there. Make sure you're following our Facebooks and Twitter accounts, Instagrams, all those fun things. And if you're heading over to PAX, we'll see you there.
Happy Halloween if you're into that, I guess.